afternoon. This is Coach Bill Wallace with you today. I'm the athletic director at Southwest. Thanks for viewing Bear TV. We've got a lot of exciting things going on at campus right now, and look forward to the fall semester. Thanks for being a part of our program. Hopefully we'll see you at the game soon. Go Bears.
Well, good evening, Bear fans, and welcome to another edition of Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV. Football season is officially just around the corner, so tonight we'll visit with the head football coach here at Southwest, Coach Cliff Collins. After he's done, we're going to talk turf, Coach Ken Jackson, and the improvements, not only to John I. Hurst Stadium, but the improvements that have been going on around campus, specifically athletics. We'll do that and more, so sit back, take a seat. It's time for Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV. Well, welcome back to Bear TV and Inside Bear Athletics as we get ready for our football preview show. And, of course, joining us now, the head football coach of the Bears in his second season, Coach Cliff Collins. Coach, welcome to the program.
Appreciate you having me, Ben.
Well, Coach, before we talk about this season, let's back up just a bit. Year two compared to year one, much, much different, not only for your team, but for you as well. Kind of talk about some of the growing pains you've gone through over the last year being a head coach of this Bear football team.
Just first off, building the program from the ground up, recruiting your own football players in here, and trying to put a football team together that can be successful on Thursday nights. And so we have came a long ways since January the 4th of 2021 and until now. So I'm pleased with where we're at right now as a program, and looking forward to the season.
It's one of the things, and we'll talk more about this later, but that's one of the things. This is more your team, not a team you inherited that you put a few pieces on, right?
No doubt, Benji. We got a full scholarship roster team now. We was able to go out and sign guys to complete our team from last year, and had played a lot of freshmen last year also. So we combined those with good high school talent, and now we got a full team.
Well, before we talk about the team, let's back up just a bit. Coaching staff always changes a little bit, it seems, in community college. No major changes to yours, but you did lose one of your coaches and then added another one. Tell us about that.
Yes, I lost my defensive coordinator, Coach Nelson Portis. He decided to go back home, pursue other careers, and we had been together, and it was a good deal. Proud, a good job for him. He did last year for us, helping us to 3 victories. I also gained a local guy who was at East Central, Deontay Evans. He'll be coaching the defensive back. So we're doing a little shifting around right there. I'll be the linebackers coach now, taking Coach Porter's place. Also, we're probably gonna head up the play calling on defense. So I'm gonna pull a double duty right here along with me and Coach Steigers. As far as getting these Bears, getting the right play into the defense and getting them rolling for the season.
Well, Coach, let's talk about the season. By this point, your guys are really just tired of hitting each other at this point, aren't they?
No doubt. We had a great camp. The guys that really got after it. We got a lot of egos. We got a lot of egos. We got a lot of testosterone and all that stuff. And them guys, when two bulls hit each other, it's pretty violent. So we got some real Bears out there that's playing right now. So I'm just ready to see them hit somebody else, and it's going to be pretty good.
When you talk about community college football, a mix of sophomores and freshmen, along with the out-of-staters that you're allowed, but one place you always look to is that sophomore leadership. They've been here, they've done that, they've taken the long bus rides, they've been through the summer practices. So talk about some of those sophomores you're really looking to step up and be leaders on this football team this year.
One is the first one is just Kobe Bellazar. He's the number 4 rated player in the country, JUCO player in the country right now. He told a story the other day in my office, like how he wanted to leave. We kept coming to get him and making him go to class. He had never done none of that stuff before, and guy never been in a weight room. He's a Mississippi State commit now. He's got people calling him each and every day, but he's a competitor. He like to compete at everything he do. He like to win, And they made a statement that we want to see those teams that really beat up on us last year. And so he's one of the leaders that he keep the other guys up to par as far as, hey, he gonna make sure they practice. He gonna make sure, hey, you better be ready once you step in front of me.
Not only do you return him on offense, you've got a quarterback that's coming back. Talk about the development of Chris.
Chris, man, you talking about a guy that improved from year to one, year to two, that we was thinking about maybe playing him at defensive back. And, he took every rep this spring because he was the only quarterback. We signed 2 other guys, and they just hadn't. He stayed up. Him and Bells are roommates. They stay up all night watching film. He made a throw yesterday at practice that he wouldn't have made when he stepped foot on campus. So, he's really taking over the team, and he's a leader also. Them two are like they're like brothers, and they hang out. They stay with each other. You see one, you're gonna see the other, but they keep the defensive guys together also. And he's having fun right now, and that's what it's all about, just going out having fun.
Well, let's move over to that defensive side of the football. You still have some names coming back: Fred Lewis, Buddy Felder, Hunter Lee, who I thought was one of your better players on defense last season. You got those guys returning. Defense is near and dear to your heart, so tell us about that Bear defense.
It's definitely gonna be violent. Our whole goal right now is to stop the run. We beefed up the D line a little bit. Speaking of Hunter Lee, he was tops in the sack leaders at defense end. Didn't gain enough weight, so we beefed that line up so much we had to bump Hunter back to wheel linebacker. So Hunter would be the wheel linebacker this year, along with Buddy and Fred. Them guys was tops in the state in tackles and stuff. So I got probably the most experienced group when you talk about it. It's the linebacker core that played here, but overall up front we got a couple transfers in that's gonna help us. Along with Crosby, and we get McGillberry back, who was a 3rd-year guy from South Jones, another guy impressive inside. So I think we'll be pretty stout up front. That's gonna be our strength of the defense.
You talk about the strength on defense. On offense, I assume we're still going to spread the ball around and throw it a lot?
We definitely gonna spread it around, but with an All-American offense, preseason All-American tackle, and we beefed up the O-line too. We're gonna plan to run the ball. We're gonna we're gonna manage the game offensively, and when we get ready to throw it down the field, we're gonna throw it down the field. But we definitely want to establish a run. Up front, it all starts up front when you talk about winning games, winning championships, offensively and defensively. And that's one area we really worked hard on improving, was the offensive line and defensive line. And those guys definitely look different, and it's going to be a great season, I think.
I think one of the areas of the football that a lot of people take for granted is special teams. You got a returning long snapper and a returning kicker. So that's not one of the concerns you have. A lot of coaches go looking for kickers. You kind of have yours in place already.
Oh, no. Yes, sir, Benji. We got Trace Lagner that's coming back, along with Jackson Fortenberry. Those guys took every rep. So they was the only 2 we had. Those were the first 2 guys I got committed when I got here. We also added another long snapper. We got Ty Moore, who's a receiver that's going to be doing some backup duty also, that can punt, kick field goals. So, again, we just want to create depth on this team. You never know with all the stuff that's going on with COVID and everything. Someone might catch it that week. The next guy got to be ready to go. I just got out of staff meeting a few minutes ago. I told them every guy on this board is one play away from playing. So we got to be ready for that.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, looking at your schedule, scheduling people were nice to you in some ways and not so nice to you in others, but you do get your first 2 at home. You got to really like the fact that you can have your first 2 games at home.
No doubt, Benji. Anytime you don't have to get on that bus, which we ride some nice bus with bus supplies, but anytime you don't have to get on that bus and travel 4 hours or 2 hours, it's always great, and play in front of our fans on a new turf. That's going to be exciting. It should be a packed house, so fans, you better get here early.
I was going to say, we'll talk with Coach Ken Jackson about the turf, but from a football perspective, how important has that been to be able to practice, to be able to not have to worry about striping a field off and things like that?
Oh, it's great. Just going out there, in South Mississippi, it's gonna rain. It's kind of like we on the beach. It's gonna rain, the sun gonna come out, and it's gonna rain again. So you gotta pick your times when you can go out there. Now we don't have to worry about that issue. We can go and practice at any time. We practiced last night at 7 o'clock after the soccer match, so it was all good.
Well, Coach, let's talk about that schedule a little more. We talked about getting started with those 2 home games. South Division is always a very, very tough division with Jones, with Gulf Coast, with Colin, all of them mixed in. So kind of tell us about the schedule a little bit, kind of tell us about that division a little bit.
Well, we got a favorable North schedule, I think, right off top. We got Mississippi Delta, who's gonna have a kind of be a rebuilding year. That they was 4-5 last year, who much improved. First winning season, I think, in 20 seasons or so. So they're gonna come in. We come in with a good football team. Then you got Coahoma that's got some players. They probably got some top defensive players in the state. And then we get to go to Gulf Coast. That's one of the premier programs in this state. You talk about the South Division. You got Hines rated number 8 in the preseason, and starting off, you got Jones rated 12th, and then you got Gulf Coast receiving votes. So, we're in the toughest division, no doubt, in the South. So, we just got to go out and make sure we can take care of business versus one of those teams, and establish our name.
Getting off to a good start would really, really help you flying into Gulf Coast, wouldn't it?
Yes, if we could go in there 2-0, we'll definitely be ready and flying off to a high start.
Well, Coach, I know, like you said in the beginning, your players are tired of hitting their own players. It's time to get to it. September 1st, John I. Hurst Stadium. We will get to finally see this Bear football team at that brand new John I. Hurst Stadium, Monroe McKelvin Field. So, Coach, I know you're looking forward to that and getting started.
Yes, I am, Benji. I can't wait to get on that field September 1st. September 1st is a special day also, but it's the first game, and I'm just excited for our football players to be playing in front of their home crowd.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to it September 1st, and don't forget, if you can't make it out to the stadium, you can also watch those games on Bear TV. Coach Cliff Collins, thanks for kind of giving us some insight into your football team, and of course, we'll be visiting with you weekly before those football games, talking to you about your team and your opponents each week. So we always appreciate so much all the transparency you give us with that football program.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me on the show.
Coming back, we'll talk with Coach Ken Jackson, the Assistant Athletic Director here at Southwest Mississippi Community College. We're going to talk with the Turf Man about turf. That's coming up next on Inside Bear Athletics and Bear TV. Well, welcome back. It's Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV. Our thanks to Coach Cliff Collins for joining us as we get ready for the football season. And speaking of getting ready for the football season, Assistant Athletic Director Ken Jackson joining us. And we've just about changed Coach Jackson's name around town to the Turf Guy. Coach, welcome to the program first.
Nice to be here, Benji.
Well, before we talk about the outdoor turf, I want to back up just a little bit. Improvements here on the SMCC campus. We put some indoor turf down before we put some outdoor turf down. Boy, the strength and conditioning center's come a long way. Talk about that.
I tell you, Coach Cornwell and Miss Coach Cornwell, Hannah, doing a great job in that facility. That was kind of a COVID situation that we needed to move some weights to be able to work out some kids, more kids. And so we ended up putting turf in there, and it is a first-class facility, and we just keep adding to it every month. Seems like we're putting something else in there, but it's really nice.
I was going to say, for folks who haven't been in there, maybe hadn't been in there in 6 or 7 months, it does seem to change constantly over there, doesn't it?
Yes, and Coach Cornwell and them are doing a great job of adding equipment, and it's first class. I think it's probably, and Mark says this all the time, it's the best JUCO facility in the state.
Well, in addition to that, there are some other things that are getting touched up on campus, and I know you've kind of got a hand in a lot of that. So tell us about some of the other things people may not notice that are going on here on the SMCC campus as far as improvements go.
Well, we're steadily adding and building. We're looking at adding to the baseball facility, some grandstands. I think that's coming eventually. Because Dr. Bitcher is really instrumental in wanting to add a tennis facility here, a walking facility here, a pavilion over by the band facility. All of that is dealing with the students and giving them a place to go. But we're just steadily adding the different things, and of course our big one is the turf right now.
And let's kind of talk about the turf a little bit. Of course, when you moved out of baseball into your job as assistant athletic director, that's when the turf talk kind of officially began. And before you know it, you were driving all over the state talking turf.
Well, this is something that I'm going to say it's been a vision for a lot of people on this campus. I think Dr. Bishop's been looking at this for several years, and we just didn't feel like we could pull the trigger, and now the opportunity came along that we could do this, and Coach Wallace and I went and looked at a lot of different places, and the way the actual company that we used, which was AstroTurf, which a lot of people think, when you think of turf, you think of AstroTurf, because that's kind of the first company that was around in the 70s, but AstroTurf has come a long ways in 40, 50 years, but we went around and looked at things, and we kind of settled on one thing that we wanted, and the bid process happened.
And then once the bid process happened, of course, everything started moving. And I noticed over the summer, a lot more people probably drove through campus than they normally would over the summer, just to see how much progress was being made.
It's really fun how many people that's talked to me on the streets or called me and asked me questions. But yeah, you up here and you'll see people drive up and they'll get out. They'll walk up to the edge of the hill and they'll take a picture with the phone and then they'll leave. I think Mr. Sammy Clark's been up here about every other day.
He's probably got a beginning to end
Absolutely.
synopsis for us.
But it's crazy the way all this happened, and the process of one company won the bid to get the turf, and then in the I guess called the workshop of us talking to the contractor and the engineers and all, it came up that this company could not deliver the turf until October. And so all of a sudden we felt like this was fixing to get just squashed. We weren't going to do it. But then we kind of looked at different things. Ended up getting the turf we actually wanted in the first place. And so it all kind of worked, and the weather kind of hampered us, and we finally got to a point where weather wasn't going to be a problem, except the installation, and then it stopped raining for about 3 weeks. And so they were able to get the turf down, and now we've got the turf down, and now it's raining every day. So it's a great situation.
And kind of talking about the fact that it's raining every day, a lot of people, when you talk about turfing a field, it's the looks. Everybody likes the look, everybody wants the look, but the turf field pays off in a lot of other ways, including the fact that it's been raining every day. And just this week, soccer played a game that they probably would not have played otherwise.
Well, that's important. Playing the game is important, obviously, but the most valuable thing the turf provides us is the opportunity to practice. You don't realize how much practice time you lose by not having a facility to get into. Now, we've got the indoor facility, baseball, softball building that's big enough to practice in, both soccer and football. But again, you don't get the actual work that you would get outside. But the idea that we have not missed a day of practice through all this rain is probably the most valuable thing. I think last year the football team played a team that has a turf field. It started raining on Sunday, so it rained Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Our team never got out on the field. They practiced inside every day. That team got outside every day, and you could tell the first half went about that team had been out all week. So the practice time is probably more valuable than the actual playing time that you get on the turf.
So you got practice time, you got playing time. I noticed one of the things, kind of going back to soccer, one of the things soccer gets to do as well is gets to play their games at evening. There was no lights at the current soccer facility here on campus, so now they get to play later in the evening, which maybe gives a few fans that wouldn't otherwise get a chance to see the soccer team play.
Well, their parents obviously that travel, it helps them out because you play a 5 o'clock game instead of a 2 o'clock game or 1 o'clock game. The heat is a factor, obviously, but also it gives our student body something to do at night. You know, now you got a 5 o'clock game and a 7 o'clock game, and also you look over where the lights are on the football field, they'll walk over there, get up in the stands, stay 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, then they'll leave, but then next time they may stay a little longer. So yes, it provides a lot to our student body. It's kind of a hub of our campus. It's right in the middle of our campus. And so I think it provides a lot. And it's a lot where people walking around the campus and walking around the track and just walking down the field the way it feels.
It's kind of weird though at the soccer game. That line is behind the football line, so you kind of have to readjust your eyes from football to soccer for that field.
There is an adjustment, but we wanted to keep that soccer line as not noticeable as much if possible. And that's why we went with a gray line. You know, went to a field I saw out in Texas, and it had a gray line on it, and both the soccer coach and the football coach I talked to out there both said that it's more accommodating for both of them.
When we talk about practice, you get to play football games on it, soccer games on it, but not to go into too much detail, but I know there's a lot of other plans for it as well. In fact, you've already started fielding phone calls about that facility, haven't you?
It's going to be Dr. Bishop's vision here was we're a community college, and let's let the community use our facilities, you know, and so we're receiving phone calls already this week. The high schools want to play here. Right now, we probably have 30, 35 events scheduled for our turf between now and November, and that doesn't even count the practices. This is just the events of our soccer games, football games. I know the alumni is doing a Pee Wee Jamboree up here late in I think November, and so it's a lot of different things. Then in the springtime, where softball, baseball can get out there and take ground balls when it's real wet, and it's going to be used by a lot of different people.
I'll say it's not just for the 4 or 5 football games that are at home every year.
And that's what people say. You know, you hear the negative part of this. Everybody goes, well, you got 5 football game, it costs X amount of dollars, so we're going to pay this much money for it. That's part of it. That's one small part of it. But it's the like I said earlier, Coach Collins, you know, it's the practice. It's everything else that's going on out there. Bare Necessities Day in the spring, you know, it's going to be out there, and rain or shine, doesn't matter. You know, it's unless it's lightning, we're playing.
Absolutely. While we're talking about the football field, the turf is down, but also you made a few other minor adjustments just to make it look a little nicer. We put some breakdown and stuff. Talk about that.
Well, you know, we had to take a lane of track out to make it wide enough for soccer. We took away the steeplechase, which was just a kind of an eyesore or a hazard waiting to happen. Electrical outlets was put in, water was put in, the accommodations that a lot of people are accustomed to that we did not have because our field was a little outdated, the bottom line to it. And so all of that was put in to make it. We put the bricks around the brick column around the time clocks and the scoreboard, which really dressed it up. And so that's just some little things that is going to make it more accommodating for anybody who wants to use it.
Absolutely. So it's September 1st is when the first football game is at that facility, and that's also when the ribbon cutting and the dedication will be. So that will be a big night on campus.
The dedication will be held at halftime of the football game.
And I know all the board members, which, by the way, have very much helped make that possible. Hopefully they'll be in attendance there, and it'll be a night where we can show off that great facility under the lights, which is just how you want to show it, right?
Well, you know, it took a lot of people to do this. You know, a lot of people had their hands into it. Of course, obviously the board, Dr. Bishop, Mr. Alford were instrumental, and obviously the cost of it and everything, but a lot of people have their hands into it. Though I think it's important when you build a facility. You know, we talked to Coach Collins, we talked to Coach Mills, asking them their opinion about it because they're the ones going to be playing on it. So we asked them what they wanted, and we tried to accommodate as many people as we could.
Well, it's definitely something, like we said, all summer long and even into the fall. You see people driving through wanting to see that facility. It's something that not only Southwest, but Southwest Mississippi as a whole can definitely be proud of. Coach Ken Jackson kind of giving us some insight into the new upgrades to John I. Hurst Stadium, Monroe McKelvin Field. And of course, we look forward to that October 1st date, don't we?
Yes, I'm looking really forward just to see that field and all dressed up and ready to play a football game on it.
Absolutely. Coach Ken Jackson joining us talking turf. Coach, we appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you, sir.
We'll come back and wrap it up. In fact, we're going to wrap it up right now. That'll do it for Inside Bear Athletics right here on Bear TV. Thanks to Coach Cliff Collins. Thanks to Coach Ken Jackson. And be watching for more shows down the line right here on Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV.